At the center of the Mississippi Delta, surrounded by flat farmland and open sky, sits Mississippi State Penitentiary. For more than a century, it operates as the state's largest and most notorious prison. Official descriptions present it as a secure correctional facility. The reality inside becomes visible only when evidence escapes the walls. In late 2019 and early 2020, that evidence appears in the form of secretly recorded cell phone videos. They are filmed by incarcerated men inside housing units that officers rarely enter. The footage spreads quickly once it reaches journalists and attorneys. It contradicts years of official assurances. It documents a system that is no longer under control. If stories like this matter to you, consider subscribing, because what happens next reveals how this system truly works. The videos do not come from a single incident. They appear over weeks. Each clip shows a different angle of the same collapse. Bloodstains cover concrete floors. Cells sit in darkness with broken lights. Toilets overflow, sending sewage into living areas. Doors remain unlocked for long stretches of time. Inmates move freely with homemade weapons in their hands. Some recordings show injured prisoners lying motionless. Their wounds are visible. No medical staff arrive. No officers appear in the frame. Voices in the background call for help. Hours pass without response. The footage provides timestamps. It documents how long the injuries go untreated. Other videos show violent assaults between prisoners. The camera does not cut away. There is no intervention. The attacks stop only when the attackers choose to leave. These scenes reveal a power structure that operates without supervision. The presence of the phones raises a basic question. How do cell phones exist in a maximum security prison? The answer points to the larger failure. Security has already collapsed. Staffing levels fall far below minimum requirements. Entire housing units operate without direct supervision for most of the day. Mississippi's own records show the scale of the problem. Officer vacancies exceed 50% at Parchman during this period. Shifts go unfilled. Remaining staff are responsible for more inmates than policy allows. Control rooms sit empty. Cameras malfunction. Doors stay unlocked because no one is available to operate them. In this environment, contraband thrives. Cell phones move freely between inmates. Chargers and batteries circulate openly. The videos themselves are proof of that reality. They are not smuggled in through sophisticated schemes. They remain because no one is present to confiscate them. Gangs fill the vacuum left by absent authority. They control housing areas. They determine access to showers, phones, and food. Protection becomes a commodity. Violence becomes enforcement. The videos capture these dynamics without narration or explanation. They simply record what happens when the state is not present. The conditions shown are not sudden. Investigations later confirm that the decline unfolds over years. Maintenance budgets are cut. Staffing recruitment fails. Training programs shrink. Facilities deteriorate faster than they are repaired. The prison size magnifies every weakness. Parchman was built on former plantation land in 1901. For decades, it relies on forced inmate labor to operate farms and workshops. Reform efforts come and go. Federal oversight appears briefly in the 1970s and 1980s. Court orders improve conditions for a time. Oversight fades. Problems return. By the 2010s, warning signs are visible. Reports from advocacy groups describe violence, medical neglect, and unsanitary housing. Lawsuits allege constitutional violations. State officials respond with assurances. They cite budget constraints. They promise gradual improvement. The cell phone footage removes ambiguity. It shows conditions that cannot be explained away by paperwork. The images are clear. They are dated. They are filmed from inside locked units. They show the absence of staff where staff are supposed to be. One widely shared video shows a hallway floor slick with blood. The camera pans slowly. No officers appear. The voice recording the video explains that the injured man has been waiting for medical help. The timestamp shows hours have passed. The blood has dried in places. Another clip shows a cell flooded with water and waste. The toilet does not function. The drain does not work. The floor remains wet. The inmate filming explains that maintenance requests go unanswered. The conditions persist for days. In several videos, inmates display knives fashioned from metal scraps. These weapons are not hidden. They are carried openly. The lack of fear of confiscation signals that searches are rare. The weapons exist because the opportunity exists. The videos reach national media outlets in early 2020. They circulate on television and online platforms. Civil rights attorneys confirm their authenticity. The Mississippi Department of Corrections can no longer deny the situation. Public statements shift in tone. State officials acknowledge that Parchman is in crisis. The governor activates the National Guard to assist with security. Emergency funding is requested. Outside law enforcement agencies provide temporary support. These steps are reactive, not preventative. Federal authorities take notice. The U.S. Department of Justice opens a civil rights investigation. The inquiry focuses on whether conditions at Parchman violate the Eighth Amendment's prohibition on cruel and unusual punishment. Investigators review footage, reports, and internal records. Lawsuits multiply. Families of incarcerated men file claims. Advocacy organizations join suits. They argue that the state knowingly allowed dangerous conditions to persist. The videos serve as central evidence. They show not isolated incidents, but systemic failure. The department's own data supports that conclusion. Incident reports reveal a surge in violence. Deaths occur within the facility. Several homicides are recorded during the same period the videos are filmed. Medical response times are documented as inadequate. Officials attempt to explain the failures. They cite low pay for correctional officers. They point to competition from other law enforcement agencies. They describe rural isolation that makes recruitment difficult. These factors are real, but they do not erase responsibility. The Constitution requires the state to provide basic safety and medical care to those it incarcerates. The videos show those obligations are not met. Floors covered in blood. Inmates left untreated. Housing units abandoned by staff. These are not borderline cases. The footage also exposes how official narratives diverge from reality. Prior statements describe Parchman as secure and under control. The videos show unlocked doors and roaming inmates. Press releases emphasize reform efforts. The images show decay. The gap between statements and evidence damages credibility. Public trust erodes. Lawmakers demand answers. Hearings are held. Department leaders testify. They acknowledge mistakes. They promise reform. Timelines are vague. Emergency measures bring temporary change. More officers are deployed. National Guard members stand watch. Some housing units are closed. Repairs begin. Conditions improve in visible ways. But structural problems remain. Staffing shortages persist across Mississippi's prison system. Training remains inconsistent. Turnover stays high. Oversight mechanisms lack independence. Without sustained investment, the risk of regression remains. The videos become a reference point in national discussions about prison oversight. They are cited in reports. They are shown in court. They are used in legislative debates. They demonstrate the power of documentation in closed systems. They also raise ethical questions. Inmates risk retaliation by filming. They expose violence at personal cost. The decision to record reflects desperation. When formal grievance systems fail, documentation becomes the last option. The spread of contraband phones is itself a symptom. It signals not corruption alone, but absence. In a functioning prison, phones would be detected and confiscated. At Parchman, they remain because no one is present to enforce rules. This absence extends beyond security. Medical staffing is limited. Mental health services are strained. Maintenance requests go unanswered. The environment deteriorates further. Each failure compounds the next. The federal investigation continues for years. Negotiations lead toward consent decrees and settlement discussions. The state commits to benchmarks. Progress reports are filed. Monitoring increases. Change is slow. The videos remain online. They are referenced long after the immediate crisis fades from headlines. They serve as a record. They cannot be retracted or reframed. They exist as evidence of a moment when the system was exposed. Parchman is not unique. Similar issues appear in prisons across the country. Staffing shortages. Aging facilities. Budget pressures. The difference here is visibility. The footage provides direct access to conditions usually hidden. For American viewers, the videos challenge assumptions. They show that constitutional violations are not abstract legal arguments. They are concrete conditions. They occur in real time. They affect real people. The story of the footage is not one of reform completed. It is a snapshot of failure revealed. Whether lasting change follows remains unresolved. Oversight requires persistence. Attention fades. Institutions resist scrutiny. What the videos prove is limited but significant. They prove that brutality and neglect at Parchman are not rumors. They are documented reality. They prove that official assurances mean little without verification. They prove that systems fail quietly until evidence escapes. As the cameras inside Parchman turn off, the responsibility shifts outward. To investigators. To courts. To lawmakers. To the public. Documentation forces acknowledgement, but it does not guarantee reform. The footage leaves behind a permanent record. It captures a prison operating without control. It captures the consequences of neglect. It captures what happens when oversight collapses inside a closed institution. If you think this story was intense, the next one will leave you speechless. Subscribe for more true crime stories that'll keep you on the edge of your seat.